Everyone likes a good movie myth, apocryphal tales that give certain movies a little notoriety and add another shade of colour to our perception of the movie business. An extra dying in Ben-Hur, a ghost being seen in Three Men and a Baby, the hanging body of a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz. What is wrong with the internet? But some of these myths are true. Now, there are true stories we've covered in the past, like Jessica Rabbit's secret flash in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or animators sneaking a topless woman into The Rescuers. What is wrong with animators? But here are a few others that sound a little too good to be true, but actually totally are. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are the 10 craziest movie myths that turned out to be true. Number 10, O.J. Simpson was rejected as the Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is more bumps than man, was far from being the first choice to play the T-800. He originally auditioned for Kyle Reese before he and Cameron thought he'd be perfect as the villain. See, originally the Terminator was envisioned as a normal-looking man who could blend into the background, you know, like the T-1000 eventually ended up being. The filmmakers had a short list of possibilities, with O.J. Simpson's name appearing near the top. Cameron gave the idea some thought before deciding against it, stating he didn't believe such a nice guy would be believable as a killer. Number 9, a transgender woman appears in a Bond film. Right up front, let's talk about the bits of this story that aren't true, the little bogus touches that have been bolted on by hearsay and salacious gossip. Some stories state that Caroline Cossey, a transgender woman, played a Bond girl in For Your Eyes Only, filmed a love scene with Roger Moore, which then got cut when he became furious at learning about her past. No, look at Roger Moore, he's obviously way more sexually progressive than that. The simple truth is, Cossey does appear in the film, but she doesn't play a lead role, or even a speaking role for that matter. She can be seen very briefly walking around a swimming pool and is credited appropriately as Girl at Pool. She later posed in a Playboy shoot to promote the film, but sadly her career took a knock when the press revealed her past. Number 8, Dolph Lundgren nearly killed Sylvester Stallone. I can imagine anything shy of ancient incantations and a golden sword through the head is unable to kill Sylvester Stallone, but Dolph Lundgren nearly managed it. It sounds like the perfect piece of PR bullshit to promote the film, but it's actually 100% true. Whilst filming one of the scenes, Stallone suggested to Dolph that he punch him for real, and the massive blonde gentleman dealt Sly a severe blow to the breastbone. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that Sylvester's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. Except, no, that actually did happen. The trauma of the blow made Stallone's heart swell to 3 times its size, and he spent a week in an ICU. Number 7, real skeletons in Poltergeist. Poltergeist is a movie with plenty of strange behind-the-scenes tales. There's the eternal rumor that it was actually Steven Spielberg that directed it, a claim that some of the cast back up, or of course the persistent Poltergeist curse story, which carries a spooky amount of weight considering that 4 cast members died within 6 years of each other. Well, curses aren't real, but one of the things that perpetuated such a rumor was something that's 100% creepy and 100% true. There was a scene with skeletons in a swimming pool, you see, and as a cost-saving measure, real skeletons were used instead of plastic ones. Makes sense, plastic ones cost money to make and real ones are just lying around in the ground. Absolute filmmaking lunatics. Number 6, Charlie Chaplin doesn't look like Charlie Chaplin. The global phenomenon of silent film and slapstick, the tramp aka Charlie Chaplin, has had a number of myths follow him around, the most persistent one being that there's a time traveler hidden in B-roll footage for one of his films. Spoilers, there absolutely is not. A myth that's true, however, the physical genius, who'd be 127 if he were alive today, once entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike competition in France in 1975. He went along, dressed in his tramp costume, and he came in 3rd. Pissing 3rd. The man himself couldn't win his own lookalike competition. Now, to be fair, Chaplin was very old at the time and had bright blue eyes in real life, which obviously didn't show up on the black and white cameras, but still, pissing 3rd. Number 5, Charlie Chaplin's body was stolen. Still with chappers, he was a man with quite an amazing life, and as it turns out, his death was quite eventful too. Shortly after said death, 2 men dug up his body and held it to ransom. They reburied his coffin in a field and then tried to extort $400,000 out of the Chaplin's estate to reveal its location. The saga went on for days as Chaplin's widow refused to pay, saying that Charlie would have thought it ridiculous, and as they weren't the smartest guys in the world, the police quickly tracked down the criminals. They quickly confessed and were sentenced to jail for disturbing the peace of the dead. When Chaplin was buried again, the family made sure no one else tried the scheme. They covered his coffin in 6 feet of concrete. Number 4, Tom Cruise made a secret cameo in Young Guns. The rumor that Tom Cruise, lightning-powered demon of pure madness and teeth, made a cameo in 80s Brat Pack classic Young Guns circulated for years, but was written off as nobody could spot him. It was only confirmed years later by the cast, who explained that Cruise was visiting best mate Emilio Estevez on the set and felt like dressing up like a cowboy, and you give Tom Cruise what he wants. He'd also never taken part in a movie gunfight by that point, so he was keen to try it out. The crew obliged by dressing him up as an anonymous henchman, complete with face-obscuring hat, mutton chops, and a moustache during the final showdown. It's easy to see why people miss him, as his wordless appearance consists entirely of firing a gun before being shot dead. Number Number 3, Sylvester Stallone was in a porno, never ending with Sly. Look, we've all been in sex tapes, mine has more extras than Gandhi. Certain celebrities have been seen in salacious tapes, but few have been in actual official pornographic features. Sylvester Stallone sure has, though. He appeared in a softcore porno called Party at Kitty and Studs, which is an Oscar bait title if I've ever heard one. It also has the alternative title of Italian Stallion. Oh my. Stallone played the titular stud, gets his kit off, and while there's no hardcore sexy action that actually took place, he does do a naked Ring a Roses dance with some other nudies at one point, which I now simply cannot unsee. He was flat broke at the time and got paid $100 a day for the privilege. Number 2, Walt Disney's final message. While the story about Walt Disney's frozen head has been thoroughly debunked, the strange myth about his final message is completely true. Before Disney passed away, he made one last communication by jotting down a specific name on some paper, that name being Kurt Russell. Now, if movies and that Simpsons episode when someone shot Mr. Burns have taught me anything, it's that in Disney's final hour, he was trying to tell us something very important, that he was murdered and that the murderer was Kurt Russell. I mean, sure, Kurt Russell was only a 15-year-old child actor at the time, but if you've seen Escape from LA, you know what horrors he's capable of. In an interview, Russell confirmed that it was true and stated that he, like everyone else, had no idea what that final message meant. And number 1, Darth Vader wasn't originally Luke's father. George Lucas has stated for many, many years that he always had the storyline for the original Star Wars trilogy mapped out, which, makes the whole Luke and Leia thing supremely creepy. It also doesn't make sense that if Luke was being hidden from Darth Vader, that he'd be living under his real name, or that Vader couldn't sense his real identity during the attack on the Death Star. That's because the father twist was a late plot addition that wasn't in the original script for The Empire Strikes Back. Luke's dad was originally intended to be a dead Jedi who would appear to him as a ghost, but the twist became iconic, so all is good, but the myth that Lucas had that revelation in mind from the start is pure